So there was a bit of a audio difficulty with my other device. Hopefully this one's going to be better. And yes, I did do the thing, but doesn't mean I won't have to.
Did somebody order good food?
Why? I could. Oh, let's see. Well, it's spinning after the advertisement.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done.
What is going on? I don't get it. That is so strange. Right now, this is not a favorite moment. Oh. Right now, this is not a favorite moment. Okay. Oh. Sounds like we got it working. It's weird, when I was trying to open it via my laptop, recording it via the cell phone, it was just spinning, like it would do an advertisement, and I have it set to conservative so that they don't interrupt too much. And then it was just spinning, but then I loaded it a third time and it was good. So hopefully you can hear me. Let me know, and I'm going to make sure the chat's on. I also thought of something else in trying to get today's video set up. When I do it via the cell phone, I can't seem to put in like a written comments. Oh, hi, Michelle. Yeah, I can't seem to put in a written comment. Slow at work this morning? Glad to have you here. Because all I see when I go to the section is the ones that are already there and the settings. And I have it set to all. But I can do that via the laptop. But that's when I have it available to me. Sometimes somebody else is in the house is using the laptop, and then the browser on my tablet's been wonky for a little bit. So, anywho, into the topic at hand. This device does drop its charge fast. It was at like 75 or 80 something, I think, or close to 80. But I'll charge it if I need to while we're doing this. So yes, the topic is in the title, and the proof is in the pudding. Just kidding. No, sorry. Which is a weird phrase, isn't it? Anywho, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the laptop. Someone else who I kind of follow, I could hear hers, but with the laptop it just wasn't recording. But on the cell phone it is, and we got 3 of you here, which is really lovely. Hopefully after watching for a little bit you will want to like and subscribe, unless you've already been to the channel before, in which case you probably might want to like pretty quickly. And yeah, appreciate you being here. So yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes I get pretty eager with an idea. It's like, oh, that sounds like a neat idea or a concept, and I'll come rolling, and I haven't necessarily answered the question myself. That being said, I don't mind doing it organically. There's something about doing that. And also, sometimes it doesn't take very long for other people to tune in, or for people to tune in. And then it's a conversation, and that's kind of, often how I see live streams is kind of like jump into a conversation, and it creates the live stream, and it can, but sometimes it's a bit slow for that. But I like to try and answer the questions that I put out there as well, most of the time. So, the reason why I suggested, in case it's not obvious, I suggested starting with the hardest moments first is, it's not quite the sandwich method, which some people talk about, but it's the finishing with the positives. As I was saying in the previous video that the audio didn't record in, though, you could start with the hardest and find healing, find growth, find answers, find hope, peace, whatever. And therefore then it's not completely not completely negative either, right? So, I mean, some things it's hard to do that with, and some things it might actually be impossible to do it with. But most things, I think, it is possible. So what method I mean, I think that makes sense. What method do I want to do then? I'm just going to sit for a moment. You could call it in a meditative state, but it may or may not really be that. And see what comes to mind. I mean, I can't speak for others, but I would say somewhere in the 90 percentage, a lot of people are going to think first, unless they're asked to only think about the past, whether it's good or whether it's bad stuff. They're going to more likely think of their current, situations. One, because they're current, and that just makes sense, and two, because everybody, a lot of people like to go on about being in the present. My thought about that, and I'm not sure if I've ever shared it with you, Michelle, and I hope that you'll remember to like, because I'm sure that you will find something to like, because I remember and know you to be a pretty, fairly positive person, or that's always, yeah. But maybe you're not one to speak soon. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, whether it's good or bad stuff, because it's the most current. Oh, right, being in the present. But I mean, the present's always changing, and I also think almost all of us do that naturally by default. Maybe not greatly, but is there really a right or wrong way? That's the other thing, right? So anyway, I'm just going to take a moment to think and see what comes to mind. Sorry if you saw some stuff on my hands. It's just lotion that I didn't get rubbed in. I mean, if I was to sit here and think about my present life, and how things have been for me, I mean, it wouldn't be all bad, but it wouldn't be all great either. I mean, and again, I feel most people would probably relate to that, and if they didn't say that, I would question whether they were being honest. But some people really are living a great life, with fulfilling their potential, feeling worth, and that both of you left. Or did you? But I do know that you're at work, so and you might come back later and comment whether it's still live or not. I just get that sense, and hope so, mostly. But yeah, as far as, and again, you can answer. Yeah, and I did a test, because can and can't are one letter off from each other. But I did a test. And I can hear it. And I don't know why the laptop wasn't working with the audio. I didn't have it muted. Most of the time I do these with the laptop, so I really am not sure. Anywho, we got it working. That's the main thing. Okay, yeah, sometimes it does do that. Yeah, so help me kind of jog some thoughts maybe, because I'm not really sure where to start. Good, bad, past, present. I mean, I think that they're good questions, but personally I'm struggling to kind of find the answer. But what comes to mind for you? I mean, we know a bit about each other, online, but whether it's something I know or don't know, what comes to mind for you? And maybe it'll spark something for me. I mean, truth be told, I do talk about my life experiences and things I've been through and that somewhat often on here, so I probably have answered this in the past. But whether I'll come up with the same answer or something different or just say it differently, not that I'm embellishing the truth, it would just be remembering different things, or today's a different day, right? Oh, and I'm hoping I might get out on my bike later today. It's a bit windy out, but we'll see. If not, I do the stairs at home quite a bit. And remember to like. I always appreciate getting the likes, and any content creator would. But more than likes and views, I do appreciate the chat. But other people, it's unfortunate but true, and you can say who cares, but I kind of do, and it's the ways of a lot of us YouTube creators, and we got to think about, when we say about thinking about our audience. I think I just saw a hat go across the page, but it was on the laptop. When we say about thinking about our audience and the people that we're reaching, whether we're specific about that or not, and it's kind of hard to be on here. I mean, you're going to get what you're going to get. That's another way I can't believe I hadn't said that in the past. But they are going to go by the statistics of the video. How many people liked, how many people... Okay, but you didn't answer the question. Can you answer the question that way, maybe before you go, just so that I can, it might jog something within me to, sorry, that was just a blanket, to talk about once you're gone, and then you can tune back later, perhaps. But because nobody else is here right now. I haven't been rolling super long, but sometimes it's like an hour before somebody tunes in. But yeah, they're going to go by, how many likes does this have? How many views? But views are just views. Some people may click in more than once. Sometimes it's not accurate. I mean, views don't express how much the person appreciated and enjoyed the video, as far as I'm concerned. And it doesn't look like you did say you had to go, so. You're answering to the man, and I don't mean God, but maybe. Ugh. Is this starting to go bad? That doesn't taste good. I thought I had a small sip this morning, or was that last night? I'm going to dump this out. I didn't pay for it. It tastes hot. It tastes like wheat. Well, what we're talking about, coffee was okay, or we'd rather have it before we eat it later. I'll have water before we eat it later, but I want coffee. I've had some. I don't need a ton of energy. And that might lead into kind of my least favorite moments about life, is somewhat the current. Like, I do like that I put, energy into doing the videos and that. I like it even better, again, when it's appreciated and when people are talking, under the in the chat, in the comments, and relating and getting to know each other and all that stuff. But truth is that I don't know how to change it. In some ways, my current life is not, I don't know how to change it. The things that I'm trying to change. I've talked about the passing of my dad. That was pretty hard, and losing loved ones in general. Well, no, probably at work at school. If not, they can help with them. What I do appreciate, though, is that she gave it a bit of conversation, and she was still listening. Yeah, right. Just a moment, please. Yeah, that didn't count. It was so brief, though, I guess. But even in the Switch. Anyway, okay, but now, wait, so maybe it did. Anyway, this is a good opportunity maybe to plug this in for a few minutes. So it looks like we got, oh, no, maybe not. Now, where the booklet went for this, I saw the other one. Is this it? Nope. And that's the one I was thinking of, I think. Okay. Maybe some of these will help jog my thinking, too. So just a moment here. I don't know why I kind of put this deck away. I mean, he may have been looking at one of them, but then I don't know why I ever... Just a moment. I'm going to be back on screen in just a moment. Appreciate having you here. I'm just putting some lotion on my hands. And yeah, I have the phone charging. So you know what, though? I'm just going to take it out of the charge. I'll put it back in a moment, but you laughed. And I was trying to please you. That's good. No, but I mean, some people are people pleasers. No, I mean, I understand that, maybe it was a little bit too close up, or maybe it was a little, that's weird to show, interesting actually to learn that. Just a moment here. But it still shows the statistics. I don't know why one would want that, unless they don't like seeing themselves on there, or they just want to make it an audio podcast. Okay. I don't know what that is. Something like donkey. Nobody's watching right now, so. But hopefully my first 15, 16 minutes or whatever will be captivating. No, that looks like it turns it on, but it looks like I thought it was already on. And I might just do it this way, because yeah, like I say, sorry about that. I was having a hard time getting my charger to stay connected. I don't really know how else to go about it, whether using this deck that I have here, not really camera, but this deck that I have here, or chat. If there's no chat, I mean, like I say, I thought of a couple things, didn't have a lot to say about them. I mean, well, actually, those were the hardest. What about the best? Do I really need cars to jog the best moments in my life? I don't know, but it kind of seems like it. Maybe because of what I said earlier, that not that it's all bad. Like, I appreciate G. I appreciate our dog and the fact that we have a nice home. Something did just catch my eye, and I looked in this area on the couch. I looked at the couch, in its entirety this morning. Sorry for all the movement. And I didn't see that there, and now I'm seeing it. Well, I've already done a recent one about November, but when I look at that, again, that's kind of the hardest, though. And I probably mentioned it, I feel like I did maybe briefly, that, we had a relative who's been homeless most of her life, and, well, one of G's relatives, but kind of, his family is my family, but neither of us has a lot of close living local family. And she had a lot of difficulties, and we ran into her in our neighborhood once, and she seemed like she was in need of help. And for me, actually, this was my introduction to her. So I mean, you know, I felt quite bad, and I should have anyway. I think, but and wanted to help, and maybe that as well. Either way, but I realized that she doesn't make it easy. She is doing a little bit better though, so that's good. But yeah, I saw this plate sitting on that pile, upside down, slightly under things, but slightly not. And I don't know how ING didn't notice it. And I don't usually use those. I think I had it underneath something that was hot or whatever, really hot to hold. But I don't know. And it's got like Asian writing on it, and this relative is of an Asian background. So I do kind of think of her when I see those plates. It's not that I don't know other people of that background, but closely I don't. I'm not racist. I'm not against knowing them, pretty much, but closely I don't really know any. However, I'm not seeing it at the moment, but it did make me think of a comment. Somebody was mentioning some Asian music. Oh, Japanese, which is in Asia. Um, I mean, this person, and I mean, somebody was asking favorite music or whatever. I mean, back in my concert open mic days were some of my favorite times. Karaoke days, you know, as I sometimes mention on here. Um, yeah, look at that comment a bit closer later. But right now, I do want to take a few moments looking at these. But yeah, and I did, as I mentioned when I'm doing nostalgic reflective videos. I personally did have a fairly good childhood, and in my 20s, and my 30s haven't all been bad either. I mean, so. See, the thing about these kind of decks is that they make them to connect to a wide variety of people, but you know that it's meant to be yours, and it's meant to be utilized and such, perhaps, when they're called oracle cards. I mean, the images on them are very lovely and innocent for the most part, and it's under the category of life purpose. And got them. It was at a donation place. They weren't even being, didn't even have to pay for them. So, um, Not that I hate nature, but yeah. When most of the cards speak to us, that's. Oh, before I forget though, because now I'm doing this on the device that I had that open on, which I was hoping to remember to reference this, and I might likely forget if I don't. On the topic though, I feel the topic of success and failures connects. And I started to watch a video that I'll have to go back at and look at later, but it was basically about Michael Jordan, the basketball player. And I don't know if I either misheard or I don't know if it was said with AI or what. It didn't quite sound like it was, but maybe it was, and it was just showing images or whatever. But I thought he had said baseball at one point. I mean, it's very possible. Like lots of athletes play more than one sport, so it is possible. And basically, it was talking about how he has both done very well in his career and not. You know, with famous people, or just people pretty well known, um, I think sometimes we focus more on the positives and not the or we don't focus on their setbacks and their struggles. And maybe some don't have many, but probably most do. I mean, some are open about it, but it feels like you have to go looking for. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's all these things about motivationals on here these days, and like I know Jim Carrey's big for them, and Steve Harvey, and such and such. But I don't know. For some reason, I feel like I feel like there should be more of them. And one thing I want to research a bit more because it'll give me hope. I think is whether it's within that industry or in general, is famous people who got a late start in life. I don't know Mr. Rogers' one. I was watching a little bit about him, and I thought that's what he was saying, but I'd have to look in more depth. Um, and same with Larry King. But anyway, so what I'm doing, aside from watching the comments based on the theme of this video, is I'm looking through these topic suggestion cards, basically. But I'm going to try any left. You're like, I've never heard of such thing. Oh, doesn't mean they don't exist. Just kidding. Sometimes walking away is resolving. That's actually quite powerful. Now I've got these two different piles of these things, and I'm not even entirely sure why I'm making two different piles. I think when I started to do it, I knew. At the moment, I can't remember. But, what's really weird is there's nothing on the other. It's all the same image on the other side. But, oh well, it's less to process, I guess, in that way. I feel like I'm actually hearing his music upstairs, like just a little bit lightly of the drumming, but I shouldn't be because it's not playing. The device that it would be playing on, I got them both down here actually, and he's at work, so I'm not really sure. That's an interesting one, actually, that I am going to touch on. Um, it doesn't necessarily relate exactly to the topic of this video, but sometimes other topics come in as well. Um, and that was in the committee personally. Well, if you're not going to be on topic, well, I came here on the topic, possibly, right? But I could have just as easily got back onto it because they contributed to the conversation on topic, or just because after I say this, although I am struggling more than I thought I would to speak on it. But your soul longs to express itself creatively. I would say, um, 5 star. That's what I type. Oops. I would say, just in general, it does. Doesn't have to be creative. Just has to be heartfelt, honest. Um, those kinds of things. Feel free to maybe say how you feel, how you would define what I express. If that makes sense, I'd be kind of curious. As far as gemstones and stuff like that, I think that a lot of that is just in the mind. I don't I don't really see how they are, how they connect. I mean, sure. I mean, people aren't paying for them though. That's the thing, and it might actually be helpful for them to kind of see, things narrowed down a little bit. Might not make it though. They're not giving full decks of cards, but it's not like they're supposed to be a certain number. So as long as it looks like it's full, I might kind of go with that. And again, maybe that's what's meant to be for that person. As far as that goes. I think a lot of people don't need to be told this. I certainly don't. I already know it. Hopefully you do. And if not, I'm telling it to you and I'm putting it in the donate back pile. Your purpose is to bring divine healing, light, and love to this world. So remember that. This one just looks a bit like G. Great as somebody tuned in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. So I'm just looking through these kind of idea generating cards. But you can certainly comment on the topic and we can chat. Oh, hi, Don. How are you? Good to have you here. Thanks for putting this on and being here. Yes, if you could take a quick look at the title of this and share what comes to mind, I would love to chat about it. Other than that, I'm mostly good. I've got a bit of sore kind of legs today. It may or may not feel too windy for a bike ride. And I feel like it's going to possibly be a long day, but I've got some videos I want to watch, some paper, some stuff I might want to sort through. And on my messenger device here, I also I saw a post in a group that I'm in, and the guy was mad at everybody in the group, and sounds like he was just mad in general at life and stuff. But I don't think he needed to. I was really surprised it was actually approved. But and that's around the group. Yeah. The admins are a bit more particular. I don't know. But anyway, and I thought I want to see what people say about it, and how many of them take it personally, and two, I probably want to block the guy because he just sounds a little too volatile. But in the process of looking back at that, I came across a somebody asking about what do you mean by that? G makes those, but I'm not sure what you mean. The title score? And where are you reading about essential oils? I'm confuzzled. Maybe you are too, but I'm curious. I just wanted to go back to a certain comment because I accidentally clicked out of it. I think it was this one. There might be some ideas within that for a song to wrap this up with once I do that. Or to insert at some point. The title of today's live. Can't you see it? Maybe not, because I mean, I can't see it right now while I'm rolling on the cell phone, and maybe that's just a cell phone thing. Actually, kind of think of it, yeah, because that's two things I've kind of like aha moments connected to the laptop. The topic title is what has been your favorite moment or moments in your life. And one thing I do remember about you is that you have kids, so I'm sure most mothers or parents in general would say the birth of their kids. That's a given. So maybe aside from that, and what's been the hardest? And the idea that I have, which I mentioned before you tuned in, is if choose to mention some of the hardest ones first, or one of the hardest ones first, you can find healing, you can find growth, you can find hope, you can find whatever in those that might make them feel a little less hard. And then finish with positives. Finish with some of the best. And there are well, it is true rather. I heard that there was a lyric, well, that was more about a breakup though. And it says, your best days will be some of my worst. We don't break even. But there can be some that are the best because they are memories that we hold. But sometimes we can hold pain along with good memories because we don't have a person in our life anymore, for instance. So however you want to look at it. Thoughts? I also just want to say something that came up earlier today, and it was one of my previous titles in one of my other recent videos, but I could reword it. We all judge. To make judgments or opinions is human. Just like this card says, instead of worrying, I'm going to say, wait a minute. Worrying is a human condition. We're all going to do it, But we can also equip ourselves with strategies and such that can help us through those worries. We can look at our judgments and opinions and ask questions of ourselves or the person who we're judging and forming opinions about, if that's comfortable, and possibly change them. The negative ones. I mean, why worry about changing the positive ones, right? So, or Anyway, so I've given some things to kind of think about and possibly join the chat about. And I'm just going to keep looking at these cards while you do so. I don't understand this one. I don't understand the image with this one. Sorry to distract from what I've already said. That's not reading properly, I don't think. It says you have the spiritual gift of healing and a desire to share it with others. And it's, as you can see, somebody in a medical outfit. I mean, I guess they do heal. I don't know if I'd say they spiritually do, though. More than one? Either way, it's hard. I mean, I'm kind of worrying about my brother lately, as I think I mentioned in one or two of the recent podcasts. And we got three of you here. Welcome. Glad to have you here. I have an email that I sent out to him. Actually, interestingly, I can't believe I'd never thought of it before, inviting him to join me on my podcast. One reason I didn't think of it is he has lived in places like Australia where the time difference would have made it very difficult. But then he lived in England for 3 or 4 months, I think, only, or maybe as much as a year. I don't think more than that. And then and now he still lives in the UK, because France is, I'm bad at geography. France is Europe. That's no, Europe is not the UK. Is France the UK or Europe? I should know this. I feel stupid. Anyway, anywho, I believe they're still only 6 hours. But he's not the quickest at getting back. He goes for long hikes, he does wall climbing, he works, he spends time with his partner. He's not online much. And it's unfortunate, especially when G's sister passed away recently. I found myself mentioning in the email, like, maybe we should try and be a little closer. Like, we don't have any problems with each other. And I did kind of quip something that he'd said because I thought it was silly, so I kind of echoed it back a little bit. He might not notice or realize what I was doing, though, I feel like. But yeah, I hope to have him on this podcast soon. He may or may not be shy to do it, but and to find out that he's alive. The only sibling I have a couple step siblings. Thankful for my kids have given me a lot of good moments. Okay, let's think of one or two before your kids, and one or two since your kids. I'm hoping nobody's at home sick at your home, because, well, if they are, then they're listening to this too, I suppose. And they missed that other one that one night, right? So, you graduated a few years ago, or them? And death is always going to be difficult. With time, it gets a little bit easier, but it's always something that is going to have its moments. You did. Congratulations. Was that in business, or? Sorry, I don't mean to be doing other podcasts now, although that would be lovely. And I wasn't going to try to, because I look at it as working in the industry. But, you recently gave us some money to help us out. So I don't really want to ask again, especially with winter being slower. I mean, I don't know if once I've started this, I'd even be able to bring you in on camera. I know we talked about that for later, but, we're talking about each other a little bit. So, I mean, it kind of... But we can remember this stuff and bring it back into it then as well. But, so, yeah, was that in business, or... I hope you're being able to use your degree. I mean, I'm sure that it was worth it in some ways either way, but yeah, I know that was the intent to multitask, and I want to let you. But anytime you want to come in and say something, that's cool too, and I'm glad to have you here. But yeah, so I mean, I'm just gonna say a range. I don't know why some women are ashamed of their age anyway, or maybe people in general. I mean, it's hard to get older. You notice things about life, about your body, and that's it can be hard to accept it. It's true, any of us. But oh, very, very interesting. I'm not sure if I knew that. Very interesting. Talking about body pains and this and that, and not having someone in our life anymore. That makes me think of something recent, and that falls under the hard category. But I recently heard somebody say in a video that people don't enter our lives by mistake. They are there to learn from us, and also to help us see things. And I wish I could remember some of, let's just call her BH, of the things, other than knowing that I enjoyed being around her. I can't really remember specifics. But friendship, whether it's still someone we're connected to or not, friendship can bring great joy. It's a very special thing that I wish all of us to have. I know that some of us feel very lonely at times in our lives, and we feel like we don't have it. But I wish for you to at least find one or two good friends. It's important. I'm 51. I would love to be your age again. And I don't know whether I'd like to be older. I don't know what me being older is going to look like. you know. So I mean, I'd like to be, I also was thinking of the phrase, when we're kids, we wish to be older because then we, I guess, feel like we have more freedoms or whatever. But sometimes we don't, and then we wish to be younger when we did. I mean, um, but yeah, that's cool. When I was in high school and I graduated, and I still haven't heard from Smith. Okay, it's totally fine if they see this. There was a lady. She didn't go to our school, but she graduated with our class, who was somewhere in her 40s, I'm going to guess. Um, and it's very interesting that you bring that up, though, I will say, because I was just mentioning a little earlier in this video before you tuned in that I would like, and thanks for being here and making this worth it. Nobody else is here right now, but I would like to look into learning more about people who, and I'll keep this in mind when I have you on as a guest, perhaps, as some of my questions, because I thought of a few, but on our topic, I haven't thought of many. And if there's no website to go by, then sometimes I use that to help. But this could totally be one. I mean, people that find their biggest successes, find their biggest purpose, and get to live it later in life is the kind of thing that would give me hope, because I am almost 40. I feel like I've been struggling with that. And I wonder if it's ever going to not be the case again for me. I wonder if those good things are still on the horizon, right? And I know that everybody's life and everybody's journey is different, but when you hear that it can happen for some people and they're good things, it gives hope, it gives optimism, right? I'd like to try and get a little bit more personal for a moment, though, myself. Some of my best days were when I was in a band, high school and the other one. When I was in school in general, for the most part. I mean, Eva's class, I'll never forget that, but just in general. Um, some of my best moments have also come through sensing my loved ones that have passed away. When I'm able to do that, it's pretty special for me, you know. Um, a lot of my hardest moments have been around death, um, have been around not feeling like I'm able to live my purpose, not feeling like I'm getting where I want to in my life. Another one of my nice moments that I like, actually, that this card kind of makes me think a little bit about, rightly or wrongly, is seeing the beauty of others and of the world. I think that's a very special thing. And to anybody who says it's weird or it's creepy or whatever, if somebody calls you attractive, it's also a compliment. I mean, would you rather hear you're ugly? Because I don't think most of us would, you know? I mean, on the topic of judgment that I mentioned earlier, though, I will say that it is hard for me to put judgments on people sometimes when I do it. I don't like to be that way. But again, it's very human. You know, we're going to form opinions about people, and they're not always going to be positive. They're not always going to be comfortable, and they're not always going to be, the opinions that we'd have about most other people, you know. And part of me thinks maybe they shouldn't be. But part of me thinks, could work to get a little bit better at that. But again, most of the time, I'm thinking positive things about people. So. And I feel like this was a real affirmation to a number of things, perhaps also including what I just said. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working. I think I'm going to put that into this deck though, um, because I often feel like it doesn't, and that brings up stuff for me that I sometimes feel powerless in being able to change it. I didn't really find my direction until I was 40, so don't worry, you'll get there. And I mean, my dad died at 48 or 49, so who knows if that'll be my story too. But so I'm trying to make the most of while I got, as much as sometimes I might want to end it, it's kind of like I can't do that to G. I can't do that to our dog. I couldn't even really go all the way and do it to me. I couldn't do it to the people that do care about me here, to you, to Michelle, etc. You know, um, but sometimes things get really hard, and it crosses the mind. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, but so, what did you graduate? Oh, right, you said that already. Curious question, and again, we can bring this up when I have you on screen. Thank you. Um, and same to you. With your degree that you got, very specific in the orthotics and such and such. I mean, I know what you do now. And I would guess there's some business sense stuff. There's maybe some marketing things that maybe still apply, but otherwise it's not really related to what you know. But perhaps it was a goal of yours for whatever reason. Maybe you hadn't gotten a degree in anything, at that college level or whatever before then. Maybe you had. I don't know. And it was something you wanted to do and you went for it and you succeeded. When I think about going to college, I think about, oh, the campus is so far away. The cost is so expensive. I get overwhelmed easily, I'm not like I used to be when I was young. And a lot of society is built around having degrees. Not everybody believes in them or thinks that they're always necessary. Sometimes, yes, but always necessary. I know that Michelle and I don't. But society is largely constructed that they do. And so when I think about that I'm not able to go back to school again, it also makes me sad. Because it does make me feel like, will I ever succeed? In the ways that I want to then? Like I feel like I should be able to do either way. Like I feel like, are a part of me for a reason because I'm meant to be utilizing them. This is why I'm so happy that you're going to be, that you're here now and that you're going to be on my podcast next month. Unless is it the first today? Soon. Because it reminds me that yes, I am meant to do it. Maybe not as often as I would like to, but I am meant to do it. These kind of things. I don't use my degree. I only went to school to learn about it because I'm an... Oh! And I almost remember you saying that. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but again, what you get done before your guest comes, you get done. What you don't, you don't. I did some creative writing, and I want to get back into it, and I've been thinking about it lately. And one of them was about, like, having a house guest. And I connected to a former friend of mine who was an amputee. And it's not, of course, because she was an amputee, although that was hard, because I knew her in person, and she had adjusted to it very well. But, and I mean, again, I'm saying the specific details. Somebody 55 minutes into this sees this and then goes there and thinks they know who I'm talking about. They still may or may not be right, because there are lots of people that are amputees, for various reasons. Diabetes, some other genetic condition, accidents, or whatever, but it's very interesting that comes up, because just a few days ago I disconnected from somebody because she wasn't respecting who I'm becoming. She was, but she was being wishy-washy about it, when even if I'm not living into it as much as I could be, I'm owning it. And I appreciate others accepting that and not being wishy-washy about it. So recently I did a couple of videos. One before I contacted her and it got fully to that spot. One afterwards. I wasn't saying who she was specifically, but I felt like I needed to talk about it. And I did a couple songs. And speaking about being in a band ages ago, I did a song that I often avoid. One, because of the theme. Two, because it makes me miss my band. But it seemed fitting. And it was, I could send you the link, perhaps. Because I don't remember what I titled it as at the moment. Although I could also look on the laptop. And your girlfriend won't judge you, but I know you'll get back to it soon. I mean, I don't usually go for much more than an hour, unless, of course, things really start to pick up right around that hour mark. But we've been chatting, so I will want to unwind shortly. But let me see if I can find the title. The song was Someone Like You. And yes, if you can think of anybody else that you know that you think might be cool to have on my podcast, either watching them or actually in them, let me know. Like I say, and it doesn't take me a lot of prep to do those ones either. Depends on the topic, I guess. But I would love to have at least 2 or 3 in there before ours. Also, back on my brother for a moment. Maybe you can give me a little bit of input about this quickly. I have a message typed to G's living sister. And she doesn't have her own email. She uses her husband's. Or at least that's the name there. And she was a little slow, and I guess she felt like she'd rather call to reply, so she did that. She got the voicemail. It didn't record completely. Family and justice card. And basically, it was about some photo DVDs that I found that likely have all of them in it, and they didn't play in our machine. I also feel like I may have annoyed a neighbor the other day unintentionally. Half unintentionally. But anywho, and so I was looking through old photos though online, and I came across a picture which I definitely remember was when we went out to one of the towns just outside of our city with the 2 sisters and G. And it always, for some reason, stuck out in my mind because we went to some lady's house. I don't know if it was a relative of theirs or not. And they had a dog that sat up on a ledge behind their couch. Between their couch and their kitchen, there was like an open thing in the ledge, and it sat on there. And that I always thought that was kind of funny. And then I looked at the next picture, and it was a mural that I was standing in front of at a diner that we went to. So I knew it was that trip, and it doesn't really hugely matter to me, I suppose. But I thought G might like to know, and he couldn't remember. And I was curious who that was. And she's not in the picture, and the other one, the other sister isn't on Facebook. But I thought if I asked, it might prompt, and they were talking about this. They were talking about doing this, maybe going to that town. And part of me would love to. I think it'd be a nice road trip. A nice little, there may not be a lot to see there, but I think it'd be nice. I think it'd be very special for them. Now, some people could say, well, if you don't want to be in a car ride with that sister and or her husband for whatever reason, then you don't have to be. But I would have FOMO if I wasn't. And I don't get out of the city very much, or even out of the house sometimes very much. I'm semi-housebound. So I would appreciate it also if you haven't liked yet to like the video. I know that you're enjoying being here. But yeah, so I have an email typed up, which means I can't check the emails from my step because I only have mine on here. And I don't know if I could access it on the other ones. I don't know the password, actually. So I guess it's true, though. It probably saved it as a draft. And if it didn't, it should. So maybe I'll make sure that it does that, and then I'll go to my inbox and hopefully hear from my brother. But before, okay. And as far as the music thing, let me just see here. So a moment ago, I was just going to go to my email. But then I remembered, oh, I don't want this Facebook thing to reload. But it did reload, but it came back to it. So I feel like there's some ideas for maybe a song to wrap this up with. The thing with the neighbor, basically, she had a garage sale recently. She had a bunch of DVDs and CDs on her deck, which is kind of low. It wasn't a very high, tall deck. And I felt like I was kind of really bent over. She didn't want to give me the stools because she worried they were going to sink in the ground. You know, I could have taken offense. Like, what do you think, I'm fat? Although I'm not that fat. I don't know why she was worried, but she was, and I said, oh, okay. And she wasn't planning to have it again, even though there was a holiday Tuesday here in Canada. She wasn't planning to have it again, and I was curious what she had left, and, you know, wanting to take a better look at it. For the CDs, to play the CDs, for song ideas, for the DVDs, to watch. You know, he knows I got some, but I'm honestly not, I wasn't feeling Narnia. At the moment, no. There's one quite popular one. I'm almost ashamed to say I don't think I like it. It brought back a phobia, which I didn't even fully realize that I had. And Shrek 2 was great, but there was a couple things that it said in it. One thing it showed, I got past it. Not long after that, it said something, and it bothered me so. But I don't have that many of these cards left. Oh. Okay then. Okay, well, as far as music goes, and yeah, if you haven't given this a like, I do appreciate you doing that too. Other people will look and see, okay, it's got a couple of likes, it might be good. Especially since live chat doesn't show afterwards. I'm only at 40%, but I can plug it in again in a moment here. It looks like I'm not meant to do music in this one, unless you have a song request. Because even though I did go back to that page, I accidentally did something and went away from the post. And so now I have to look for it again, and it's not near the top. I'm seeing a whole bunch of posts I didn't see this morning that have been made since then. But let me just quickly look here. Because I could send you the link, but I could also just tell you what it's called. Was she just... Oh, you left. Oh, no, maybe you're back. Said 0 and then back to 1. Donna, are you there, or who's there? Okay, it's stands out because it's right next to a video that shows gongs in the image, which is kind of unique. It's right next to it. Was she just not being separate? That one. Okay. You just hit the thumb. You know how, I'm sure. Yeah, because like I say, people go by that sometimes, and it's always nice as well. I'm glad that you're here, though, and you are enjoying it, but people go by that. You know, some people don't. A lot of people do. They should go by, let me watch this and see what I think of it, but some people are going to be like, oh, it only has a like, one like or whatever, so must not be that good. And then they might be missing out. Not to toot my own bugle, but before you go, I do have a quick two questions. One, do you have a song request for me to wrap this up with? Two, what has been your favorite moment of this podcast? And that's something maybe I'll try and ask more often. Thanks for the like, there it is. In my videos, I'll try and ask, people what was their favorite moment, because I'd be curious. I know in some videos, though, it would be hard to pick just one, right? Well, then pick 2 or 3, Yeah, and I appreciate that you check it out, because yeah, I did that Adele song in it after talking for a while, and I did some Jan Arden. And here's the thing. I know I can sing, and I know that I've got a good singing voice. Not to toot my own bugle, but I mean, I should, since I've been singing all my life. I know that certain people can go on these singing competitions and say that, and say they can sing, and they're either very average or not great. But, I mean, I know I have a musical ear. And other people, they sound like those people and saying, oh, other people say I'm good. Strangers included. But there was something about singing those songs. I remember at one point I almost kind of teared up a little bit, and it somewhat surprised me at the point that it did. But there was something about singing those songs and the way that I sang them that really resonated with what I'd went through and what I was doing that video about. And just the kind of the graveliness that I brought into a couple of the parts of the songs. I like that song that you were singing a bit earlier, something about, oh yeah, right. Yeah, you know that one, eh? I don't know if it's the kind of song I want to sing the full thing of, though. So if you have another request, feel free to make it. I'm going to look through the last 5 or few of these cards, probably not all of them, and then we've got other things to do. See, it's only an hour, and I'm sure you'll still be productive. It's the same with doing the podcast, which is, well, I would love it if it could be sooner rather than later, because life is not promised to any of us, and I know that we'll enjoy doing it. So I know that you feel like you got a lot to do and you're very busy, but it's really not any different than this, except that you'd be on camera. And on the phone is probably best, even though it's a smaller screen. I'm hoping that glitch gets fixed with the laptop soon, but because it's the only way I can bring you on camera. And yeah, we just talk for 45 minutes to an hour, about your business, no, about the store that you own, and yeah. So keep that in mind and let me know. In the meantime, if you do have another 1 or 2 song requests, I can look at them. And I'm also going to look at these. I do want to talk on this one for a moment, though, I think. I relate this to that situation. It's even a dog that looks a lot like ours. I've got to keep that out and show G. Whether we talk about boundaries or whatever, it says, walk away from a situation in order to resolve it. And with that situation I was just mentioning, I feel like that's the best way to look at it. That being said, I think sometimes you have to walk into it further, go into it further with the person to resolve it and not avoid. But you know what? Respect is paramount, I would say, for the most part. Sometimes there can be misunderstandings, or what comes across as disrespect might not be. And Michelle did try and tell me that about the situation. She tried to say, and her being her, she says, I've messed that up, kind of thing up before, and people do, but this person shouldn't have, because it was right there in front of her face in the message. And she just chose to kind of like say the opposite of what made sense. Again, I get into that maybe a bit in a more specifically easier to understand way in that video. Okay, I'll let you think of a couple songs. And then we're up. But I'm going to keep the card because I think that's keep it handy. 1, because it looks like our dog on it, and 2, because I think it's good. This one's kind of interesting. It says, you inspire young people to learn. And I hope I inspire lots of people to learn. But as far as young people, I think they're naturally fairly curious. A lot of them also think they know it all, or they don't necessarily Some of them maybe seem like they're beyond learning, especially once they get out of school. But a lot of them are curious, I think. Maybe in ways that younger people aren't. Blinding Lights by The Weeknd or Journey? I was actually looking at that group recently, I think. I saw them in a playlist, and there was a couple titles that kind of made me scroll past them. By The Weeknd. Okay, yeah, I could probably do that one. Another one you learned through your kids, perhaps? You're like, what are you trying to say? I don't like modern music on my own? Kind of. No, just kidding. Yeah, I'll do that one. It's not The Weeknd anymore, but I'll do it anyway. That's a good one. I think I quite like that one. Okay, here we go. Piano or guitar? Actually, I'm going to decide for you, I think. Because, on that one. Because there's an E flat and a B flat, which I don't know on guitar. And because I feel like I need to get up and stretch for a moment. Oh my goodness gracious. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the AC. Well, I know that you're multitasking in that, so if you keep this rolling, that's great. And the people can see that you're chatting and that you're here and you're enjoying it. I am going to run up very quickly. Maybe let our dog out of the room that he's in, because one, I ran up the stairs, he followed me up there and went into his crate on his own accord. And this way he wasn't distracting me. Two, because my bladder's speaking to me. So I'm just going to go quickly do that, and then I'll do that song. If you think of any other songs, let me know. Okay, cool. And this is at 40%, sometimes drops fast, but it should work for a couple more songs. And I kind of want to have the AC on because it keeps the air moving. It's actually quite warm out, and the school makes it noisy, especially if I have the dog down here. The area is kind of busy during the week, and I don't want to see toast outside. I'll be right back. Now, upstairs? Yeah, there isn't upstairs, but I never. Sorry. While you're multitasking too, I'll leave you with something to think about other than other songs. I'm going to be having a kind of unique lunch in a bit. And how do you catch a unique animal? Riddle me that one. I'll be right back. I haven't done the thing yet. Appreciate you sticking around though. And I know you're multitasking. You know, that sometimes makes it easier when someone's away from the screen. It's like, okay, I'll just do this for a little bit. See any signs? And the dog wanted to stay up there in the crate, so inside you. That was a little bit annoying when he doesn't want to come out and greet us, but he's comfortable there, so that's the main thing. Okay, I'm back. Oh yeah, I said suit yourself to the dog. I said, because I don't have a suit, because I don't even have a suit that would fit you. I don't even think I have a suit. Actually, I do have that one. It's a bit of a trigger and I hardly ever wear it. One where I got it from, one something I wore it too. But, just need to get a bit more lotion. I put some on my hands, but it didn't really, Yeah, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the AC. I just also came across another music book that I've not seen before. But I think I'll just do this one for now. There's not a lot in this, so I'm just taking a very quick look. Are you still there, Don? It went from 1 to 0, but sometimes it does that. Either way, I'll do the song and I'll say, yes, I did it at the end. Huh, I don't have to reload it, it's just auto-scrolling. Yeah, I think it's just going to be too, what do I meant to take? Keep doing that. It's like I keep putting room temperature with cold water and then seeing a bottle that's like all cold and not fully full, and it's like, didn't I just adjust this? Sometimes I'm juggling so many bottles. That sounded funny. You know, because I am a juggler and a drinker. No, just kidding. I'm sorry, bad joke. Okay, let's get on with the song then. I've been trying to call, I've been on my own long enough. Maybe you can show me. Ooh, I do not like that version. Let me find a different one. I also think I might know another one of their songs too. Oh. The Tears have a song called That Humbug. Dark Times. Behind the Madness? My Dear Melancholy, eh? Weeping, Avatar, the Way of the Water. I decided to really find it. I hope I can find that German one to ask Maxie about too, because on that post. Oh right, I have to re-find the post, so that's what I'll be looking for next. Okay. Acquainted, that sounds interesting. Angel sounds interesting. You know either of those? I don't, but I'd be happy to learn them. Okay, Blinding Lights, here we go. Now I don't know which version I was just on, and there's a lot of versions. Oh, let's go in order. Because that didn't sound right. I was hitting the right keys, but it wasn't sounding right to me. And see, this is written differently, so let's try this. I've been trying to call, I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through withdrawals. You don't even have to do too much. Turn your arm just to touch, baby. City's cold and empty. No one around to touch me. I can see clearly when you're gone. And I say, I'm blinded by the light. I can't see till I feel your touch. I say, I'm drowning in the night. And when I'm like this, you're the one I trust. Hey, hey. Never liked the road never drive, baby. The city's cold and empty. No one's around to judge me. I can sing clearly when you're gone. Hopefully the team will be around on the weekend and y'all still like to join me. Maybe we'll do some weekend stuff together. I said, we did yesterday actually. I'm blinded by the night. I can't sleep till I feel your touch. And I say, I'm drowning in the night. Clouds came into the room. You're the one I trust. I'm just walking by to let you know. I can't say it on the phone. I will ever let you go this time. I said, I'm blinded by the light. I can't sleep till I feel your touch. We're going to show this to the chillins later, eh? The what? The kids. All the other kids with the fucked up kids that almost the same chords. I'm blinded by the light. I can't sleep until I feel your touch. Something like that. Now, I'm going to do one others by them, and if you have any other song requests while you're doing what you're doing, feel free. 7% though, so I might have to browse it over there. You might briefly lose me while I plug in. I just want to do one other song by them that I think is by them that I know. And do I want to look at the rest of these cards now or later? I kind of don't want them floating around. And this video's already got some action on it, so the one that goes what's it called? Oh, I think I remember what it's called, and it should have been right around that title actually. Maybe it's not by them, although I thought it was. Lust for Life, eh? Well, they have one with a very similar title. I'm going to keep looking. After the next song, I'm going to go jump in the shower. I should probably do that too, but I sometimes only do it if I have a plan. If I have something to go out and do, and today I don't. But sometimes you just feel like you need to. Okay, yeah, I appreciate you being here. And you want to hear one more. Okay, you might have to request it of me because, well, let me just look it up. Who is it by? Because now I'm curious. It doesn't seem like it's by, there is other songs with this title, which is the only thing. It's the one that goes, trying to be a better me, better man, trying to do that I can. I have a lot of money, but I don't feel any better yet. I was sure it was The Weeknd. Trying to be a better me, a better man, just the best that I can. Living just to do what's right. Mentioned something about calling his mother in it, but I don't know what the song is. I don't really have another idea. Or do I? Or do you? Do you know We Are Young? OMG. Okay, now that's... Okay, is that One Direction? It's definitely not... It's similar to the title of the Rod Stewart one, and they're very special because of my friend Ray's passing. Only the Good Die Young. Some of the bad do too, though. No, okay. And what's the other one? Um, oh God. It's the same title as Rod Stewart, Forever Young, but that's not what you're talking about. I want to say you're talking about a One Direction song or an Adele song. I'm thinking of Marty a little bit, unfortunately. We are young, gonna set the world on fire, gonna go higher than the sun. That one? Or one of the other ones I mentioned. Working with flowers opens your heart and brings blessing to others through your life purpose. I am embarking upon a career that brings you the joy and abundance you desire and deserve. Good. Happy to hear it. The band that sings it is called Fun, and the name of the song is We Are Young. That sounds very familiar. Oh yeah, I think it is the song I was just singing. You didn't recognize it? Because it looks like it is. And I don't know. I'm not feeling that one as much. There's some reference to like drugs and alcohol, and I don't know. Well, I mean, things in moderation are okay, but I'm not feeling that one as much. What about an oldie? I know you probably know some oldies too. Not that young people don't, but give a nice balance between the two. And I might also work on doing some creative writing later, or looking at that project and trying not to think of that one person I mentioned, because yeah, connect her when I think about it. I also want to write some poetry. We all have a book inside of us that wishes to be expressed. Make the time to write it. This reminds me a little bit of our friend Essie's cards. You heal, inspire, teach, and entertain with the words you write. So far it's not enough to return back. I need an oldie, but a goodie, and quick. Somebody else just tuned in. You gotta leave soon. I should leave soon. So it's just an oldie, and if the other person wants to, I don't think they stayed, but yeah. And I don't want to make you late for your appointment either, but I don't mind if you walk to your car playing this and play it in your car. I mean, if you're able. But I am going to wrap up soon. I do know that much. This card says I have natural healing abilities. How intuitive of it. So song request, if the other person that just tuned in would also like to say anything else on the topic, I tried my best to cover it. And we did a little bit with the comment too. But Freebird, I'll do that one, I think. I haven't in a while. If that's by Leonard Skinner, then that's ironic again because of my friend Ray. Or is it by Zeppelin? Which may be a completely wrong guess. But I know the song you're talking about, Leonard Skinner. Okay. Funny, because I just heard somebody mentioning Sweet Home Alabama the other day. Okay, so I'm going to open this up and do this one. There's also a free movie on YouTube, speaking of free, called Freebird. It might be BYRD, but it's free, and I don't know if I like it as much as The Wake, Max and Me, and A Country Called Home 2015 that I found right around the same time. But I like it. I think you might. So feel free to check that out. Let me know what you think. And I think one of the main themes about this song is like the first line, if I leave here tomorrow, if something happens in our life, where we don't make it to tomorrow, because life can be that way sometimes, this is why we got to make the most of it. So I really do appreciate you being here. Aside from at the beginning and maybe one other person who gave a like and the person that just tuned in, it's been relatively quiet. The viewers, especially the viewers that are engaging or liking or sticking around and all of the above even, really do make a podcast worth doing. Um, I'm not going to expect you to also do that other podcast idea with me today, but if we can do it before the date that we're mentioning, because life is fragile and no pressure. I mean, it's mostly preparation on my end, and then we talk for an hour. If you want to know the questions ahead of time, I can give them to you or some of them to you. Otherwise, you can just receive them as I ask them. So get back to me on that. But I'm going to do Freebird. Now, I am only at 21%. And how they make phones with the charger thing on the base makes it hard to prop it up and play an instrument at the same time. That came up the other day with G, and I can't remember. It was kind of a interesting way that it came up. So what I might end up having to do with this one is sing it a cappella. I could hope that if I have it unplugged at 21%, it would last long enough to do the song. But this device drops fast sometimes, so I think I better just sing it a cappella, which I don't do often, but here we go. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now. So many places I got to see. If I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. What made you think of the song, out of curiosity? Seeing a bird recently or something particularly? Bye-bye, it's been a sweet love, though this feeling I can't change. Now please don't take it so badly. Oh, Lord knows I'm to blame. And then it just repeats, I think. There wasn't as much to that song as I thought. The intro chords, like GDE is quite popular together, but then with the FCD is kind of interesting. I'd really love to do it on one of my instruments, but that might have to be in a future podcast. So, the other person didn't stick around, or at least I don't believe so, unless it's Don that left, but either way, I'm going to wrap up. Let me know if you check out those movies and, what your decision is as far as that podcast and that other video that I mentioned to you about. Oh, your husband is watching as well. Well, hello to, I don't know if it's Mr. Jordan or Mr. Musso. It's actually very ironic that you tuned into this one, not only because that's succeeding late in life or just big milestones late in life. I mean, honestly, I think we all probably have them. But also the fact one of your last names is Jordan, and I was mentioning Michael Jordan. But either way, Mr. Don, not Delta Don, all right? Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose of days gone by? So what's husband's name, out of curiosity? And yeah, I'm glad that you both enjoyed it. Hopefully he likes my vibe as well, and I don't know how much of this he saw, but Dawn is a good friend, and I am thankful for her as a friend, and I hope that you both have a great day. That's my step's name, actually. Kind of step. So yeah, whether I'd say it's a good name or not, I don't know, but I'm sure he's a good Brian. It's also a former I don't know what happened. I think he went off the rails with this mental health, and I don't know, this guy that had a roommate named Brian that I knew. I was looking at a picture. He has the same kind of dog we have, but they don't look like him. I don't think of him all the time, thankfully, because I have the dog all the time. But like I say, here's that cardigan. But he had a roommate named Brian. He also had a couple of really terrible ones towards, like, I'm glad I didn't see anything worse than I did, but they were not great around dogs. Um, Speaking of Hope, though, I believe there's a Hope Jordan that I've heard of in the industry. Okay. Well, stay strong with your muscles and your mussels. Don't eat mussels, they're gross. Just kidding. Well, kind of. And muscle also looks like musical for some reason to me. Or muesli. Either way. I'm just playing with words at this point. Or words are playing with me. I don't know. Which one? Anywho. Yes. Have a great day. And Brian, if you want to follow the channel as well and watch it when you have downtime or when you notice a live stream that looks interesting to you, I welcome you to do that. Okay, and yeah, hope you and your family have a good one. Take care. Talk to you again soon.